So here we are, another edition of Wise Talks. I'm here with my good friend Patrick Porter. We are in one of the most beautiful places on the earth, in Mexico, Cancun actually. And this place is called the Now Sapphire Riviera Resort, all-inclusive. It's been an absolutely beautiful stay here. We've got a lot accomplished. We're here to present some wonderful technology that I guess I should call him by his title, Dr. Porter. But Dr. Porter here has invented some wonderful technology and has been a part of this technology since the 80s. And I'm going to ask him a few questions so that we can find out a little bit more about it and also why he wanted to do this. Because it's an interesting story, and I've known Patrick for probably close to 20 years anyways, and we have a pretty good friendship and also business relationship. So Patrick, how are you?
Great being here, Phil.
Good to see you. Yeah.
Good to be seen.
Yeah. So tell me, we've had conversations like this in the past, but I remember some of the jobs you were talking to me about working in the oil fields. I mean, you've done some pretty, excuse the expression, but crappy jobs.
Right. Well, I used to tell people that you have to do what you need to do what you want to do. A lot of people aren't willing to take that step. They basically want to set goals, and it'd be great if we could all set a goal and just be there right now. But you've got to, I think, prove to whatever powers that be within yourself that you're capable of doing those other jobs. So, early in life, going to college, you do whatever you needed to do to make your rent. So that's where those other jobs came in.
Right. Okay, so you were working these jobs to get through college. You eventually got your PhD, and I believe it was in counseling?
Yes.
Okay. How did you go from there to running the MindFit with the MindFit machine, which is the newest machine that we have here? What transition between your PhD and to where you are now? How did you get there?
Well, actually, during the time I was still studying to get my PhD, I went to work for a company called Light and Sound Research. And I was one of 6 people that created the technology that's now portable light and sound. Invented a machine called the MC Square. And it got great accolades at the Consumer Electronics Show. But remember, this was before MP3 players, before CDs even, before cell phones, and people didn't understand it. And what we took was a technology that was in a big box about the size of a bread box, and we condensed it down at that time into the size of like an oversized cell phone, bigger than a cell phone. That was remarkable when we did it, but nobody still understood it. So it took a practitioner to really get it out there and get going. So that's when I started the franchise company that we ran for years. And just kind of segued through it. Our whole goal was always, how can we make this device so easy to use, so inexpensive that every home can have a light and sound device?
Mm-hmm. Now, I met Patrick through one of his franchises called Positive Changes, which I actually still own in Toronto, Canada. We do hypnotherapy there, but I also do professional coaching. We do detoxification programs and nutrition programs for clients. And we do acupuncture with the needleless stones. We do a number of different things in the wellness industry. But I had sort of met Patrick way back when I was thinking about doing this, and then followed him in a number of his pursuits to refine the technology where people wouldn't have to come to a brick and mortar location. They could actually order this thing over the internet, and if we were in Timbuktu or Arizona, let's say, they could actually, if there were no centers around, wellness centers that had this equipment, they could actually get it in through the mail and start using it and start doing a number of things with it. And that's going to be my next question for Dr. Porter here is, what can you do? I mean, I know what you can do, but what can you do with the technology? Like, what does it help with?
Well, the main benefits of it are stress reduction, improved memory, cognitive skills. That's why we call it the MindFit Neural Trainer, because it's really training neurons. There's, in neurophysiology, they know that neurons that fire together wire together. But what are they wiring and firing to? If the old patterns and habits don't get changed, they're reinforcing those old patterns in the muscle. So what the mind fit allows you to do is visualize, and at that level of the mind, your brain, the hardware of our body, doesn't know the difference. So the same neurons fire, the same pathways are open. So whether you believe it or not, for those out there that aren't familiar with that, if I ask you to take a bite, if I was to hand everybody a quarter of a slice of lemon and ask you to put it between your teeth and bite down, you know, most people are going to go, you know, they're going to have, their body's going to have a reaction like that.
Just puckered up a little bit there.
Right. And that was just a very quick analogy. So, but that's happening all the time. So we think different thoughts, we make different beliefs happen, and those thoughts and beliefs activate different chemical reactions, different neurons fire. And what we can do with the mind fit is rehearse. One of my favorite sayings I use with my clients all the time is you get what you rehearse in life, not what you intend. But you need to be in the right state of mind to rehearse it. So the mind fit gets you into that state of alpha and theta, which for those that don't understand that, that's two primary brainwave patterns you need to really make a change happen. To kind of clarify for the listeners out there that there's four primary brainwaves. Where we're talking right now, where they're listening or engaged in this process, is called the beta consciousness or reactionary mind. So whatever we're saying, your brain's going in and saying, that's either true or not true. And it's not that you're being judgmental, that's the way the brain works. At that level of the mind. Without beta, we wouldn't be able to drive, we wouldn't be able to really do a lot of different things, so it's necessary. Delta, a lot of people think that, like, for instance, hypnosis or a lot of this consciousness training happens in the unconscious state. Delta's unconsciousness. Nothing happens in unconsciousness. You don't need any help there. So I like to tell people it's all conscious or other than conscious. So, but the two primary brainwave states we're interested in with the mind, alpha, which is the computer mind. Think about it. We know that people have all the resources they need to accomplish all the goals that they can set in life. But the problem is they don't have access to it. That's where theta comes in. Theta is that inventive mind, that part of the mind that can go in and access, discretionary access to those memories, those resources, those skills that are present sometime by accident. We want to make them on purpose. Intentional change, in other words, instead of just letting change happen to you, let it happen through you.
Awesome. For a long part of my history, I ran martial arts schools, and my primary objective was to use martial arts as a catalyst or sort of a medium to be able to instill change, help people to make the changes that they wanted to make, physically, of course, mentally, emotionally, and also spiritually. When I saw what Patrick had created, originally through the hypnotherapy center, but with the technology, of course, the light and sound technology that he's talking about here, I saw a way in which we could use this device where people wouldn't have to strain themselves physically to come in and learn how to do martial art moves to create a difference in their mind, in their emotions, in their spirit. So originally I saw a wider application of this reaching a lot more people, because not everybody wants to go into a martial arts school and learn how to kick and punch just to get to the other things. And that's the beauty of what Patrick has created here, is it's applicable to anybody that has a brain. I mean, you know, if you've got a brain, you can utilize this stuff. So keep in mind that this technology is available today. And I've been asking Patrick to do this interview for almost a year now, just so we can sit down and talk about this and bring it to the public just a little bit more. I mean, there's lots of stuff on the internet about this, but you're getting a little bit from the horse's mouth, so to speak, here. So where are we going from here, Dr. Porter? We're at a point now where you've got this technology. I'm here doing a show with you, and we're spreading it through the internet. But where do you see yourself in 5 years with this?
Well, I think we already have 400 clinics in the U.S. and probably 30 clinics in Canada. And we're in 40 different countries doing some sort of use of the technology. I think that eventually it's going to be the wave of change, because there's no sense in taking so long to make a change. A lot of people, and 21 days is not long, but most people don't understand that when Stanford University did that study, you had to use relaxation visualization techniques. So people think they're going to get the change without putting in all the ingredients. That's like trying to make a cake without all the ingredients. If you don't have the eggs, you don't have the milk, you're not going to make a cake. Right. So you have to have all the ingredients. And when you're talking about martial arts, for the viewer, one of the things, you can change your psychology through your physiology. That's why martial arts is so powerful for people, especially those kinesthetic learners who really need to get their physiology going. but you can also affect your physiology through your psychology, which means you can change your thoughts and change your body image. So I think when you use them both, I think the connection that we have is to have them both. Like we've talked, and eventually beautiful places like this will have resort centers people can come to for a week, maybe even 2 weeks at a time, maybe even a month if they really want to learn and become a practitioner, and really have an intensive, immersion intensive, where they're fed the right foods, because our body needs the right foods, the right chemical components. They're some fun having activities like dancing on the waves last night,
yeah,
different things like that. So there's different things like that, and I think that when you get the mind, body, spirit all working together, and you get them with a vision and a purpose, then there's a driving force. And I think that part of it is having these centers, like what was part of my goal of the franchise location, but that was too much, I think, too niche. Because a lot of people don't understand hypnosis and they think it's something else. Now that we've opened it up into brain fitness and we've opened it up into physiological change as well as psychological change, I think that these centers that incorporate more of the quantum consciousness, like what was in What to Believe and things like that, I think that's where we're headed.
Awesome. We've had many discussions about growing this organization, a partnership organization with creating larger retreat workshops, seminars, and this is in the plans. So eventually what we're going to have is for you out there, you're watching this right now, and you know, it's like you say, well, I'd like to be able to do this, but my life is so chaotic, it's so hectic. What you're telling us is that you're caught in a pattern, and you're having a hard time getting out of that pattern because you're so used to being in that pattern every day that it's so comfortable for you, and you need to take yourself. In my book, Memoirs of a Wandering Ninja, I say sometimes it's good to be involved and sometimes it's good to drop out for a while. And when I say drop out, people think I meant go live in a cave in the Himalayas, you know, for 10 years. That's not what I meant. So don't misconstrue that. But what I meant was drop out and in to a retreat, so you can take yourself out of your habitual patterned lifestyle and put yourself into a new environment with new information, with new stimulus, and the ability to go home and say, hey, I have got a shot here from this retreat or seminar to kickstarting a whole new way perhaps of whatever it might be for you, whether it's managing your stress or eating differently or exercising or just being more positive and more optimistic in your life. We want to invite you to look forward to what we have planned for you next, because in the next little while we will have some seminars and some retreats and things that will come about that will post up. And as you already know, most of my listening audience knows, I'm already starting to take people on long adventures. Patrick knows it as well, and at some point he's going to join us, but to India, where we go to the Himalayas and we drop out for a couple of weeks, and dropping in the Himalayas and spend some time meditating, doing some Tai Chi, some Qigong, some yoga, being with some of the Buddhist monks there, the Tibetan Buddhist monks, where we can spend some time around their vibration as well. So we have some great opportunities that are already emerging, and we're going to have a lot more. So I want to thank you very much for being with us here today, and I want to thank Dr. Porter. I'll give you a hug, as I do. And I want to thank Dr. Porter for being able to take a little bit of time out of the day and do this interview with me. And once again, welcome. Hope you enjoyed the scenery behind us of lovely Cancun Beach. It's been a pleasure to be here. So Terry Hodgkinson signing off for Wise Talks, a production of Inner Outer You. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are, and we'll see you on next one.